Today is day 174 in a row. It's another late one. We've been out all day. And we're just getting back to the house. You feel me? So, without further ado, day 174 in a row. Coming from 2 Kings 4:18 through 5. We're going to follow that up with Acts 15, 1 through 35. Then Psalms 141, 1 through 10. And then wrapping up tonight's read with Proverbs 17, 23. And now 2 Kings 4:8 through 5. So one day when the woman from Shunem's child, was older, he went out to help his father who was working with the harvesters. Suddenly he cried out, "My head hurts, my head hurts." His father said to one of the servants, "Carry him home to his mother." So the servant took him home, and his mother held him on her lap. But around noontime he died. She carried him up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, then shut the door and left him there. She sent a messenger to her husband, "Send one of your servants and a donkey so that I can hurry to the man of God and come right back." "Why go today?" he asked. "It is neither a new moon, nor festival, nor the Sabbath." But she said, "It will be all right." So she saddled the donkey and said to the servant, "Hurry, don't slow down unless I tell you to." As she approached the man of God at Mount Carmel, Elisha saw her in the distance, and he said to Gehazi, "Look, the woman from Shunem is coming. Run out to meet her and ask her, 'Is everything all right with you, your husband, and your child?'" Yes, the woman told Gehazi, "Everything is fine." But when she came to the man of God at the mountain, she fell to the ground before him and caught hold of his feet. "How you doing, Liz? Welcome back." Gehazi began to push her away, but the man of God said, "Leave her alone. She is deeply troubled, but the Lord has not told me what it is." Then she said, "Did I ask you for a son, my Lord? And didn't I say, 'Don't deceive me and give my hopes up'?" Then Elisha said to Gehazi, "Get ready to travel. Take my staff and go." "How you doing, Liz?" "Don't talk to anyone along the way, and go quickly and lay the staff on the child's face." But the boy's mother said, "As sure as the Lord lives and you yourself live, I won't go home unless you go with me." So Elisha returned with her. Gehazi returned on ahead and laid the staff on the child's face. But nothing happened. There was no sign of life. And he returned to meet Elisha and told him, "The child is still dead." When Elisha arrived, the child was indeed dead, lying there on the prophet's bed. He went in alone and shut the door behind him and prayed to the Lord. Then he lay down on the child's body, placed his mouth on the child's mouth, his eyes on the child's eyes, and his hands on the child's hands. And as he stretched him, thank you for the emotes. And as he stretched out on him, the child's body began to grow warm again. Elisha got up, walked back and forth across the room once, and then stretched himself out again on the child. This time the boy sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes. Then Elisha summoned Gehazi. "Call the child's mother," he said. And when she came in, Elisha said, "Here, take your son." She fell at his feet and bowed before him, overwhelmed with gratitude. Then she took her son in her arms and carried him downstairs. Elisha now returned to the Gilgal, and there was a famine in the land. And one day as a group of prophets was seated before him, he said to his servant, "Put a large pot on the fire and make some stew for the rest of the group." One of the young men went out into the field to gather herbs and came back with a pocketful of wild gourds. He shredded them and put them into a pot without realizing they were poisonous. Some of the stew was served to the men, but after they had eaten a bite or two, they cried out, "Man of God, there's poison in the stew." So they would not eat it. Elisha said, "Bring me some flour." Then he threw it into the pot and said, "Now it's all right. Go ahead and eat." How you doing, Mort? What's up? This is the Bible, and we're reading from 2 Kings 4:18 through 5. How you doing, Mort? Welcome to the chat. What's up, John Meeser? Kit Kat. Then he threw it into the pot and said, "Now it's all right. Go ahead and eat." And then it did not harm them. One day a man from Baal Shalisha brought the man of God a sack of fresh grain of 20 loaves of barley, bread made from the first grain of the harvest. Elisha said, "Give it to the people so they can eat." "What?" his servant exclaimed. "Feed 100 people with only this?" But Elisha repeated, "Give it to the people so they can eat. For this is what the Lord says, everyone will eat, and there will be even some left over." And when they gave it to the people, there was plenty for all and some left over, just as the Lord had promised. The king of Aram had great admiration for Naaman, the commander of his army, because through him the Lord had given Aram great victories. But though Naaman was a mighty warrior, he suffered from leprosy. At this time, Aramean raiders had invaded the land of Israel, and among their captives was a young girl who had been given to Naaman's wife as a maid. One day the girl said to her mistress, I wish my master would go to see the prophet in Samaria. He would heal him from his leprosy. So Naaman told the king what the young girl from Israel had said. Go and visit the prophet. The king of Aram told him, I will send a letter of introduction for you to take to the king of Israel. So Naaman started out carrying as gifts of 750 pounds of silver and 150 pounds of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. And the letter to the king of Israel said this. said this. With this letter I present my servant Naaman. I want you to heal him of his leprosy. When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes, and this man said, Why is this man asking me to heal someone with leprosy? Am I God, that I can give life and take it away? I can see that he's just trying to pick a fight with me. But when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes in dismay, he sent this message to him. Why are you so upset? Send Naaman to me, and he will learn that there was a true prophet here in Israel. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and waited at the door of Elisha's house. But Elisha sent a messenger out to him with a message. Go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored, and you will be healed of your leprosy. But Naaman became angry and stalked away. I thought he would certainly come out to meet me. He said, I expected him to wave his hand over the leprosy and call on the name of the Lord his God and heal me. Aren't the rivers of Damascus, the Abana, and the Pharpar better than any of the rivers of Israel? Why should I wash in them and be healed? So Naaman turned and went away in rage. But his officers tried to reason with him and said, Sir, if the prophet had told you to do something very difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So you should certainly obey him when he says something simply, as go and wash and be cured. So Naaman went down to the Jordan River and dipped himself 7 times, as the man of God had instructed him. And his skin became as healthy as the skin of a young child, and he was healed. Then Naaman with his entire party went back to find the man of God. They stood before him, and Naaman said, Now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So please accept a gift from your servant. But Elisha replied, As surely as the Lord who lives, whom I serve, I will not accept any gifts. And though Naaman urged him to take the gift, Elisha refused. Then Naaman said, All right, but please allow me to load 2 of my mules with the earth from its place, and I will take it back home with me. And from now on, I will never again offer burnt offerings or sacrifices to any other God except the Lord. However, may the Lord pardon me in this one thing. When my master the king goes into the temple of the god Ramon to worship there and leans on my arm, may the Lord pardon me when I bow too. Go in peace, Elisha said. So Naaman started home again. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said to himself, My master should not have let this Aramean get away without accepting any of his gifts. As surely as the Lord lives, I will chase after him and get something from him. So Gehazi set after Naaman. And when Naaman saw Gehazi running after him, he climbed down from his chariot and went to meet him. Is everything all right? Naaman asked. Yes, Gehazi said. But my master has sent me to tell you that 2 young prophets from the hill country of Ephraim have just arrived. He would like 75 pounds of silver and 2 sets of clothing to give them. By all means, take twice as much silver, Naaman insisted. He gave him 2 sets of clothing, tied up the money in 2 bags, and sent 2 of his servants to carry the gifts for Gehazi. But when they arrived at the citadel, Gehazi took the gifts from the servants and sent the men back. Then he went and hid the gifts inside the house. When he went into his master, Elisha asked him, Where have you been, Gehazi? I haven't been anywhere, he replied. But Elisha asked him, Don't you realize that I was there in spirit when Naaman stopped down from his chariot to meet you? It's the time to receive money and clothing, olive groves and vineyards, sheep and cattle, and males and female servants. Because you have done this, you and your descendants will suffer from Naaman's leprosy forever. When Gehazi left the room, he was covered with leprosy. His skin was as white as snow. And now chat Acts 15, 1-35. While Paul and Barnabas were at Antioch of Syria, some men from Judea arrived and began to teach the believers, Unless you are circumcised as required by the law of Moses, you cannot be saved. Paul and Barnabas disagreed with them, arguing vehemently. Finally, the church decided to send Paul and Barnabas to Jerusalem, accompanied by some local believers, to talk with the apostles and the elders about this question. The church sent the delegates to Jerusalem, and they stopped along the way in Phoenicia and Samaria to visit the believers. They told them, much to everyone's joy, that the Gentiles too were being converted. When they arrived in Jerusalem, Barnabas and Paul were welcomed by the whole church, including the apostles and elders. They reported everything God had done through through them. But then some of the believers who belonged to the sect of the Pharisees stood up and insisted the Gentile converts must be circumcised and required to follow the law of Moses. So the apostles and elders met together to resolve this issue. At the meeting, after a long discussion, Peter stood and addressed them as follows: Brothers, you all know what God chose me from among you some time ago to preach to the Gentiles, so that they could hear the good news and believe. God knows people's hearts, and he confirmed that he accepts Gentiles by giving them the Holy Spirit, as he did to us. He made no distinction between us and them, for he cleansed their hearts through faith. So why are you now challenging God by burdening the Gentile believers with a yoke that neither we nor our ancestors were able to bear? We believe that we are all saved by the same way, but by the undeserved grace of the Lord Jesus. Everyone listened quietly as Barnabas and Paul told them about the miraculous signs and wonders God had done through them among the Gentiles. But when they had finished, James stood and said, Brothers, listen to me. Peter has told you about the time God first visited the Gentiles to take them from a people for himself. And this conversation of Gentiles is exactly what the prophets predicted, as it is written. Afterward I will return and restore the fallen house of David. I will rebuild its ruins and restore it, so that the rest of humanity might seek the Lord, including the Gentiles, and all those I have called to be mine, the Lord has spoken. He who made these things known so long ago. And so my judgment is that we should not make it difficult for the Gentiles who are turning to God. Instead, we should write and tell them to abstain from eating food offered to the idols, from sexual immorality, from eating the meat of strangled animals, and from consuming blood. For these laws of Moses have been preached in Jewish synagogues in every city on every Sabbath for many generations. Then the apostles and elders together with the church in Jerusalem chose delegates, and they sent them to Antioch in Syria with Paul and Barnabas to report on this decision. The men chosen were two of the church's leaders, Judas, also called Barsabbas, and Silas. This is the letter they took with them. This letter is from the apostles and elders, your brothers in Jerusalem. It is written to the Gentile believers in Antioch, Syria, and Cilicia. Greetings. We understand that some men from here have troubled you and upset you with their teaching, but we did not send them. So we decided, having come to complete agreement, to send you official representatives, along with our beloved Barnabas and Paul, who have risked their lives for the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. We are sending Judas and Silas to confirm that we have decided concerning your question. For it seemed good to the Holy Spirit and to us to lay no greater burden on you than these few requirements. You must abstain from eating food offered to idols, from consuming blood or the meat of strangled animals, and from sexual immorality. If you do this, you will do well. Farewell. The messengers were at once to Antioch, where they called a general meeting of the believers and delivered the letter. And there was great joy throughout the church that day, as they read this encouraging message. Then Judas and Silas both, being prophets, spoke at length to the believers, encouraging and strengthening their faith. They stayed for a while, and then the believers sent them back to the church in Jerusalem with a blessing of peace. Paul and Barnabas stayed in Antioch, and they and many others taught and preached the word of the Lord there. And now Psalms 141, 1-10. O Lord, I am calling to you. Please hurry. Listen when I cry to you for help. Accept my prayer as incense offered to you, and my upraised hands as an evening offering. Take control of what I say, O Lord, and guard my lips. Don't let me drift toward evil, or take part in acts of wickedness. Don't let me share in the delicacies of those who do wrong. Let the godly strike me. It will be a kindness if they correct me. It is soothing medicine, and don't let me refuse it. But I pray constantly against the wicked in their deeds. When their leaders are thrown down from the cliff, the wicked will listen to my words and find them true. Like rocks brought up by a plow, the bones of the wicked will lie scattered without a burial. How you doing, Nirvana? Welcome to the chat. I look to you for help, O sovereign Lord. You are my refuge, and don't let them kill me. Keep me from the traps they have set for me, from the snares of those who do wrong. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, but let me escape. And on Proverbs 17:23. The wicked take secret bribes to pervert the course of justice. And now refusing, choosing. Refusing, choosing. Before every man lie three different paths: the unbelieving world's path, the path we make up on our own, and God's path. We all need help, and God has provided instructions on how to find help and receive it. Sometimes we are like Naaman, the sick man. All he had to do to become Naaman, the healed man, was to wash himself 7 times in the Jordan River. Initially, he refused, but not forever. Naaman, like us, got results when he finally followed the godly path. And now, we're going to try this camera chat, ask for discernment, wisdom, and clarity, and I'll be right back. Okay, Jap, we're back. Okay, yeah, okay, chap. So, Proverbs 17:23. The wicked take secret bribes to pervert the course of justice. Um, this is just It's funny that it came through this way, but it was don't get finessed. What I got from that was don't get finessed, right? Um, don't get finessed by the bribes, right? It's not worth it, you know. It's funny that that's how it came through. It's that just funny those words were used, but you know, don't get finessed. Right? Proverbs 17:23. The wicked take bribes to pervert the course of justice. Um, you know, it's a bribe for a reason. It's a bribe for a reason, you know. So, um, don't get finessed out of your out of your true blessing. You know, don't get finessed. What God has for you is way better than whatever anybody else can offer you. All right. So, 2 Kings 4:18 through 5. So here from 2 Kings 4:18 to 5, we have a story of faith. Right? We have a story about faith and knowing exactly who to go to. We talked about this yesterday though. Um, that anybody can go talk to God at any time, right? If you need help, you can talk to God at any time, and to just do it more often so you get used to doing it, right? Um, right. So, but today from 2 Kings 4:18, we have another story about faith, right? Her son, the lady's son, died. And she was deeply troubled, but her first thing that she did was go find uh, um, Elisha, right? Because she knew what he could do through God, right? So that was the first thing she wanted to do. She didn't go anywhere else. She didn't go to anything else. She immediately went to go do that, right? And that's something that we all need to take heed of, right? When we're going through something crazy or something that's tumultuous, right? Don't go to anything else. Stop what you're doing right there and talk to God about it real quick, right? And the more you do it, the easier it gets to do. The more natural it becomes for you to just do, right? Um, and But that's what she immediately went to go do, and it turned out that he was able to bring her. What's up, Skip? Skip, welcome back, bro. It turns out that Elisha was able to bring her son back. Right, he was dead, and he brought him back to life. But the message from there though is, you don't have to sit around and ponder about who to go talk to or what to go do. You can immediately, right then in that moment, just go decide to go talk to God about it, right? You ain't got to go back and forth. And the more you decide to do that, the more times you do that, the quicker you make that decision to do that, the easier it becomes, the more natural it becomes, right? And you know, we can learn something from it wasn't Gehazi, but the boy's mother. They don't really say her name. It just says the boy's mother, right? Appreciate the life, but you don't have to wait. You don't gotta ponder. You don't have to ponder about it. Hey, appreciate you, bro. You know, you wouldn't even know that I was covered in salt water earlier. Oh man. But you know, I know you're probably looking good over there too, G. But you don't have to wait. You know, you don't have to ponder about it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do none of that stuff. You can stop right there, right then and there, and go talk to God, right? Oh man. I got you. I got the hook up. I got the hook up. And now Let's move on to the second portion of this story, though, but because this story has two different messages today. Um, the second story was about Elisha's, I guess you would call him servant, uh, servant. Oh, actually, there's three stories. I'll skip the story. There's three stories. The next story was Elisha, another story of being able to feed many with few, right? When you trust God, and something that seems like it might not be enough, will be always be more than enough. It will always be more than enough, right? So let's take that. Even if it may not look like it's enough, I'm sure it'll be more than enough, right? And there's another story of the same way Jesus did it with the loaves of fish and the bread. Elisha did it with grains of salt, grains of bread, right? It turned out to be more than enough. They had some left over, right? Because we talked about this before. When God blesses you, um, he usually overcompensates in these blessings. Usually more than what you're expecting to receive. So. It's pretty funny. And now, but the third story was about Elisha's servant, who was upset because Elisha didn't take any money from Naaman, who he healed, right? And then he went to go lie and go steal the money back when Elisha didn't need it, right? This is more so about the proverb at the end, right? Here, where it is the wicked take secret bribe to pervert the course of justice. In this way, Elisha's second-hand man, Gehazi, he perverted justice. He went and took the money when Elisha said, "I'm not going to take the money." He went and took the money and hid it, just to take the money for what he did. And when Elisha already said he wasn't going to take the money, right? So, there's a story, there's a message there, if only you looked right into it, right? So, sometimes you don't need that, and so you shouldn't take it. Sometimes you don't need whatever that is, and so you shouldn't take it. So, so. And now Acts 15, 1 through 35. Okay, so in this, I can hear doggy. Yep, we're watching um one of my wife's coworkers' friends' dogs, and he's walking in circles. He's walking in circles right now. But Acts 15, 1 through 35. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. So in this story, this parable here, it's about Paul and Barnabas, and Paul and Barnabas are trying to get the people, the people who have already been the Jewish people from before who followed all the decrees of Moses. Go watch the dog. No, he's just walking in circles, bro. But they wanted them to follow all of the laws of Moses before they were allowed them to come in and worship God, right? But Paul and Barnabas were telling them that stop trying to make it so hard for people to come in and love God. God wants you to bring these people in, not to make it so hard for them to try to come in, not to try to force all your old views on them. Just because you had to do it doesn't mean they have to do it too, right? Yeah, he's just a simple boy just walking in circles, Doesn't mean, just because you had to do it doesn't mean they have to do it too, right? It's not always to force people to go through something just because you went through it, right? Um, you know, it's about, you know, we can make it easier for other people, right? And so, but the people from the past, they were like, they have to do this, we have to do it, so why should they have to do it, right? And you can just see from that kind of thinking, like, that's really just projection, right? They were projecting that they were upset that they had to do this and then they didn't have to do it, right? And we can see this in day-to-day life, or projection from other people when they're upset about. See, that's my point. But you see the different kinds of projection, um, um, based on, you know, people wanting other people to have to go through the same things. It's not things are not the same, and they don't stay the same. They never do, right? Things grow and they mature, and it's supposed to get easier, right? The point is to make it easier, and so they wanted to spread that message, right? But they were the people of the past were like, they have to get circumcised, they got to follow all of this and this and this, and I won't. When I have kids, I will never beat them because they used to beat me. Facts, right? You know, I mean, correction is necessary, definitely, right? We don't want them to just like do whatever they want, but you know, but it's supposed to be easier. We're supposed to, you know, not force old things that no longer serve the future on the next generation, right? But you know, in this story from Acts, this parable from Acts 15:1-35, they were trying to force these old things, but Paul and Barnabas was like, they don't have to do these. God says these people do not have to do this, right? We want them to love their neighbor, right? We want them to learn that message, right? It's like, what if I did it? Why don't they have to do it to me? That's outdated, you know. That doesn't serve anybody. That serves, you know, that serves nobody. That makes you just carrying on trauma at that point. You're like trying to force somebody else to go through the same trauma you went through. That doesn't help nobody. That don't help nobody, right? And so they were trying to get the true message out to them that what we want you to do is to love your neighbors. That is the decree from God, is to love your neighbor, right? Because you can't love God unless you love your neighbor, right? So, but you know, just like every generation, you know, from the past to go forward, there's always this break off to where it's like, but why did they get it so easy? Because it's supposed to be, bro. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like that. Do you want your kids to have it hard too? Do you want your kids to have it hard too? You know, it's supposed to be easier. You know, it's supposed to. That's the message to teach them. That I want you to have an easier life. I want you to have a more plentiful life. You know. And all I want from you is to make sure that you're treating everybody the way they should be treated. I want you to love your neighbor properly. And it's nothing else that's required of you. Keep doing that, and then, you know. But this is just a story of, you know, a parable of generations and what happens with generations. It always happens with generations, you know. So. As the next generation comes in, we see that the next generation coming ahead of us is going to probably have life easier with all this technological advancement, right? Yeah, facts. I want you to know full bellies and genuine love, right? Genuine, unconditional love. I want my kids to be able to have conversation with anybody, right? The same way after a while, I learned to have conversations with anybody, right? To not let my prejudgments based on what I heard before keep me from having conversations with these people when I don't even know them, right? You know, or if they have an idea, for them to be able to take that idea forward and not be held back by a shackle in their mind based on fear of something that's not real, right? You know, so that's the future I see and I hope for. Is a future for, you know, we're done with all this nonsense, this old, outdated nonsense that we still kind of do, facts, you know, that we still kind of do. because it's old, outdated stuff. It's just played out now at this point. The same stuff that we've been doing as civilizations for the past hundreds of years is played out. It's just played out, right? So, um, and I think we're tired of people who have a bunch of issues running us around in circles. You know, it's just played out. It's the same story. It's the same story. I feel you. It's the same story. And so, but that's why I'm not, I'm not jealous of the next generation of people because I'm gonna be a part of it in some way. I just won't grow up completely in it, you know. But it's why would I be jealous of that? I'm gonna have kids too one day, so why would I be jealous of that? I want it to be easier. That's my whole goal. That's my whole goal. That should be everybody's whole goal, you know, to make it somewhat easier, to make people come together a little more, to, you know, respect people for who they are and not who you want them to be, you know. You know. So, um, so, but you know, that's just my, you know, my dream world. That's just my dream world. There's gonna be ups and downs regardless. It don't really matter. It's not gonna go away, right? There's gonna be, you know, I have this whole peaks tattoo on my arm. There's gonna be ups and downs to life, definitely. But we got the cross that got our path, and the love of our families. You feel me? So, you feel me? So, if you keep the main thing, it's gonna be all right. So, it's always gonna be some good. It's always gonna be some bad with the good. But if you keep the main thing, it's gonna be all right. So, and that's really the message I want to write. I wanna share. Facts. And that's how we go in today's One Year Bible Read. You feel me? I felt like that was a great way to end. A little funny story time before we go. Today we went banana boat riding. I think that's what it's called. And that is the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. That is the craziest experience I've ever experienced in my life. It was insane, but it was mad fun, I'm not gonna lie. So if you wanna go do that, I highly recommend, you know? You feel me? I feel you. I feel that. But it was the craziest experience I've ever had in my life. But it's mad fun. What's up, Kenny? Welcome to the chat, bro. Good seeing you again. But the banana boat ride was insane. It was mad fun. I had a blast. It was crazy. Because it kind of seemed like, at first we were about to go parasailing today. But then it was like, yeah? How was it, bro? How was it for you, dude? It was crazy, bro. I was the person in the back. It was me, my two sisters, and my wife in the front. And they kept letting go and falling into me, bro. I was holding on for my life. I was holding on so tight, I ripped the skin off my hand. I was holding on so tight, I ripped the skin off my hand. That's how tight I was holding on to that thing. Oh man, it was fun though. I would definitely do it again. You know, 10 out of 10, I would recommend. And it was like the cheapest thing you could do for like all the things, which was pretty cool. Which is pretty cool. And the person who was driving the boat was pretty cool too. He let my sister drive the boat on the way to the start of our banana boat ride. It was cool. It was fun. And we had the music playing. It was fun. It was a blast. It's the same time for me, bro. 10:55. 22:55. You know, I use military time on my clock. I had to save my girlfriend, but I ended up falling into the water too. Bro, I was holding on for my life, boy. My hand was about to give out, so I was leaning up like this. I was using my shoulder strength as much as possible. Bro, it was fun, bro. We got the video because we were recording, and boy, you see me in the video, bro. It's hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. It's hilarious video. I'm not gonna lie, bro. That's like still shots of me. Literally, my hand is tucked up under my body. I'm using my shoulder to push myself forward. And I'm holding on my right hand as hard as possible, as hard as possible, boy. I was holding on so tight. I was using my whole body to hold myself in place. That I knotted up the hair on my legs. That's how hard I was holding myself. I was trying to hold myself into that banana boat. It was crazy. It was fun though, bro. It was mad fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was mad fun, bro. I can't wait to do it again. It's way better than jet skis. I want to see your chalant side. My chalant side is pretty funny, bro. He was mad funny, bro. Oh man. Oh man, it's mad funny. Oh man. For sure. I mean, it comes out from time to time. You know, but it really comes out the most when I'm with my family, for sure. For sure. For sure. When I'm with my little sisters and my mom, for sure. But I'm gonna get back to hanging out with the family. So I'm gonna see y'all next time. Nah, it's way better jet skis. No, it's way better jet skis. I did jet skis 4 times. Nowhere near as fun. It was nowhere near as fun. Hey, no problem, Slip. I'm glad you're feeling better, bro. I'm glad you're feeling better, bro. And it wasn't me, G. It's always God. And I'm glad you were open. I'm glad you were open to God helping you out. For sure. And don't forget, you can talk to God for yourself. Always. Always. Whenever you need to. I got sunburns too, bro. My shoulders right now, cooked. Cooked. Capital C. Cooked. Oh, man. Offended is crazy, skid. Hey, listen. Broski, I'm gonna be here every day, right? But I only see my family every once in a while. So I'm finna slide. I'm not gonna lie. Oh man, that's funny. But my shoulders are on fire. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I brush past something, the shower hurts. The shower hurts. But I'm gonna slide though. Let's hit this outro. I was out fishing, I had my shirt off, and it was in the water for like 5 hours. It sucks, bro. We went to the beach. We've been outside so much. We've been outside so much in the sun all day. My chest is fine. Chest fine. Tickle. Oh man, my chest is fine, but the shoulders and the back on fire. Not gonna lie. It's crazy. That's the only place I put on sunscreen at is my shoulders and my back, and that's the only part that's on fire. But we all got that limitless score, baby. I appreciate you. I might even love you, but I'm for sure glad you woke up today. Thank you for joining me, and I appreciate your presence as always. It's the most valuable thing you can give me, and I appreciate it. And I'm gonna see you next time on the next stream on the channel. Peace. It's always great vibes with y'all. Thank you for the great vibes. Thank you for y'all great energy, man. I really appreciate it. And see you next time. See you tomorrow. Peace. I forgot about the sunscreen my mom packed for me. Hey, it might be necessary, bro. See you, bro. Peace. Hell, for like 2 times I might go do. Facts. I might need the same, G. Peace. Y'all have a great one.